So, Matt, here's what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, September 12th. Arrow is releasing The Ghoul. A homicide detective goes undercover as a patient to investigate a psychotherapist he believes is linked to a strange double murder. As his therapy sessions continue, the line between fantasy and reality begins to blur. I think we talked about this a little while back, but now it's coming out, so hopefully we can find some time to check it out. I know I wanted to see. It's supposed to be a pretty good, I believe it's British, a little horror thriller. So that's The Ghoul. Tom Cruise in the Mummy remake is being released as well. You can get a steelbook from Target, a digibook from Best Buy, switching which store does which. Usually Best Buy is the steelbook king. But you get a Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy, ultraviolet pass, custom deleted and extended scenes, and a whole bunch of other featurettes. That's another one too, Matt. I felt like there was really no juice for this relaunch of The Mummy. Are you at all in on this Universal Monsters relaunch? Is another attempt to create a cinematic universe to cash in on?
No, not at all. I mean, even with Tom Cruise, who I generally like in his films, I had absolutely no interest in seeing this, and I think this is. I don't see how this thing is going to get off the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. If it shows up on Netflix or something to that effect, I'll probably check it out. But I don't know if I'm going to make any real efforts to see it, which is too bad because I am a big fan of those Universal horror films, the classics. So I don't know. And supposedly that Wolfman one with Benicio del Toro, there's a director's cut that's supposed to improve some of it. But from what I understand, it's just longer.
Oh, so it's like another Batman v Superman situation.
Ooh, let's move on. What else coming out on Blu-ray and DVD is It Comes at Night with a Blu-ray ultraviolet pass. Includes a Human Nature creating It Comes at Night featurette. We were both big fans of that one, Matt, and it is currently on my list of the best films of 2017. Is this one you'd purchase?
Yeah, I think so. But it'd have to be under a certain price point, but I would probably buy it.
Fair enough. Synapse is giving us Phenomena, the Dario Argento film starring Jennifer Connelly, who has the ability to control insects. You ever seen Phenomena?
No, I haven't.
No, it's pretty good. It comes with 3 different versions of the film, all in high definition for the first time in one collector's package. Includes an audio commentary track from Argento scholar and author Derek Botello. 2 completely different sound mixes for Phenomenon and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you're a fan of Phenomena, this is the version to get. I have the DVD release from Anchor Bay from about 10 plus years ago. So there's the US version, which kind of has some of the gore cut out, and then there's the Italian version, and I think there's like an uncut version, I believe. So I'm a fan of Phenomena, but I don't know if it's something I need to own. I'd have to think on that one. And then, like you said before, it'd have to be a good price. I did recently just pick up though the Arrow release of Reanimator, which I'm very happy about because it has that limited version, comes with the integral cut, which we talked about a week or 2 ago. So you should check that out. But I was happy I was able to get my hands on that over at the local Grindhouse Video here in Tampa. So that was, of course, before the hurricane and everything was going to go to hell. Arrow is also giving us Don't Torture a Duckling. One of Fulci's first films, includes the original Italian and English soundtracks, optional English subtitles, new audio commentary by Troy Howarth, author of So Deadly, So Perverse, 15 Years of Italian Giallo Films. But it's Fulci's or at least it's not one of his crazy gore films. It's more just one of those classic Italian Giallos. Don't Torture a Duckling, being released by Arrow. And then Scream Factory Matt is giving us The Resurrected. This is I'm sure if you've seen this one. Are you familiar with The Resurrected at all?
I am not. Tell me all about it.
So it stars Chris Sarandon from Fright Night. Since the beginning of time, man has struggled with death. Now Charles Dexter Ward, played by Sarandon, a wealthy scientist, may have found a way to beat it. Using an ancient diary and human remains, Ward begins a terrifying and bloody pursuit for immortality. I remember seeing this back in the day. I think it's like a late 80s horror film. And I thought it was actually pretty good. But that's also young me. Because late 80s or maybe early 90s, I would have been like 10, right? So I'm trying to do my best to remember if it is actually any good. Include some deleted extended scenes from the work print version, a new 2K remaster, an interview with Chris Sarandon, and a bunch of other stuff. But I remember liking The Resurrected, but I can't. Did I like it enough? I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't think you did.
Fair enough. And then finally, before I appreciate that, I probably will take it under advisement. Before we move on to the straight DVD pick of the week, I have a film being released on Blu-ray that I can't wrap my head around it. And I'm trying to figure out who the audience for this film is. Part of me thinks it's people like me who collect weird things, like The Room, somebody who wants to own the rooms or stuff like that. But Matt, they're releasing Leonard Part 6 on Blu-ray.
Oh my God. What?
And I don't... If you're not familiar with Leonard Part 6, it was a failed attempt to yet again get Bill Cosby's movie career going. And it is an atrocious film. But not bad in an enjoyable way. It's just bad. But given all the stuff about Cosby over the last couple of years, I don't know who's going to be buying Leonard Part 6. How many people even know this thing exists? So this is going to be for the people who collect, the earrings that Marilyn Monroe was wearing when she died. I think it's just for some morbid, macabre people who are into some weird stuff. Because it's not a good enough film to watch to laugh at. I don't think. I don't know. I don't understand this. Why put the resources into remastering this for Blu-ray?
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember watching it when it came out, and it was just bad. It wasn't even. It was just a horrible, horrible, horrible sit. Yeah, I would stay away from this, guys. This is not a piece of art like The Room and its badness. This is just bad.
And just given the shroud surrounding Cosby, it's this weird thing because I feel like if I had the opportunity, I would buy Song of the South just for its novelty factor and how crazy that film is given the current day. But that's a different kind of evil than Bill Cosby. I don't know. It's weird. When I saw that, I was just taken aback. I was trying to figure out who was making that decision. Anyway, Matt, here's what's coming out. That's your straight DVD pick of the week. And that's going to be Mama Boy. Kelly Hawkins is the heartthrob of Butter Hill High. He has a secret love affair with Lisa Weld, which is strictly forbidden by her father, Reverend Weld. Their secret becomes a growing problem when Lisa becomes pregnant and looks to Kelly to rescue her. While visiting his eccentric uncle, Kelly discovers a solution to their dilemma when he sees... Bear with me. When he sees his uncle's latest experiment, Adam, a male monkey who has received an embryo transfer and is carrying a baby. Kelly decides to become the first human experiment. High school life becomes increasingly tough over the course of the next several months as Kelly attempts to hide his metamorphosis into Mama Boy. Which sounds like something I think you want to see.
Sure, because it worked out so well the last time we did a straight to DVD pick.
I guess it's how do we remake what was the Schwarzenegger film where he got pregnant?
Oh, Junior? Is that what this was called? Junior?
Sure, we'll go with that. We got to work in the cute animals. Mama Boy. Fine, whatever. Let's move on, Matt. What should we be streaming this week?
Well, in honor of one of our favorite film directors on the show, in his upcoming film Mother, I am picking one of the best one-timers, and this is actually not a one-timer for me. I enjoy this film because I guess I'm a twisted sociopath. That is Requiem for a Dream is available on Netflix. Stars Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, a series of... They're junkies, for lack of a better term, and it's really all about how these four people have their own addictions and how it affects them, and it kind of follows a season progression as they kind of descend from the good times to just terrible, terrible things.
It is a family classic. If you're trying to figure out what to do, Maybe pull this one out for Thanksgiving.
You need to entertain Grandma. It's something she's really going to enjoy.
Ellen Burstyn nominated for an Academy Award for this film as well, if I remember correctly. But right. Requiem for me. That's yeah. It's like up there with Irreversible. There's just so many. There's just I know we've done the list too in the past. So just the one timers, and Requiem for a Dream I think is certainly one of them.
And see, that's the thing. I've seen it multiple times, and if it was just on, I'd watch it again. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I think
it says a lot about me.
I have an idea. So
really,
let's move on, and let's discuss Little Evil. But first, let's hear a clip from the film.
Everybody, please welcome Gary.
Well, my wife and I just recently got married.
Gary!
Hey, she's perfect. She's everything I ever wanted. And, you know, I'm having a little tiny bit of trouble bonding with my new stepson, Lucas. Whoa, look at that. You found some earthworms. Good talking to you, buddy. Never really looks me in the eye. Doesn't talk much, except when he yells at me to get out of his room. Using this weird little goat puppet thing. I get this sense that he's
evil incarnate.
Yeah.
Remind me again how Lucas was conceived?
You remember when I told you about that crazy time in my 20s where I joined that sort of like cult?
No, I don't think you told me about that.
A doomsday cult believes a child will rise up from hell to rule mankind and to bring on the end of the world as we know it. I think we found that child. And now, you're his stepdad.
All right, so I'm at Adam Scott. I almost said Adam Rich, then I almost said Adam Driver, and I finally was able to reach Adam Scott. But first, let's clear a few things up. So we talked earlier in this show about how it was the end of the world because Hurricane Irma was coming. Just so you know, this is actually being recorded the Monday night after the hurricane. Everything actually worked out quite well. We actually ran into an emergency halfway through the show, and I had to leave. Mm-hmm. So if totally I have changed, it's because I am exhausted after this weekend. I am relieved.
You don't have that twinge of panic. You don't have that twinge of panic in your voice.
That's true.
You were hearing at the beginning of
I don't.
Getting part of the show.
So, yeah, everything's okay here at TFR HQ. No damage, but just an exhausting weekend and lots of cleanup. But everybody's okay. So, Matt, Little Evil. Adam Scott plays the stepfather to the Antichrist. Evangeline Lilly is his wife and the mother of the Antichrist. And he has to decide, Matt, is he going to pull a Gregory Peck and try and kill his son to save the world? This is the latest film from Eli Craig, who is in the first-run pantheon by sort of, well, at least one of his films is, right? I think we can say Tucker and Dale versus Evil is one of the show's favorite movies.
Yeah, that was a good film. It's an underappreciated little gem.
So let me ask you, Matt. How do you feel? Are you a little let down? Did you enjoy this? Is this better than Tucker and Dale versus Evil? What are your thoughts on Little Evil?
So let's just get this right off the bat. This is not better than Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And, you know, I didn't know that much about this when Chris suggested that we watch it for the show. So I went into this pretty blind. It's entertaining in spots, but I don't think it's really not that great, if I'm being honest. The jokes land a little flat sometimes. Just, I don't know, it's just okay. I did like the kind of twist on, you know, how it kind of resolves itself and how they, you know, I thought that was kind of sweet, but it just doesn't land. You know, I don't know if that's because of the surrounding cast. Scott's fault, because he basically has two characters.
You're cutting in that on me again. Can you reduce your bandwidth there and
again
kind of start over? Are you already running low? You're already running slow or lower?
Yeah, I'm already on low. How does that work for you?
Oh no, I just have your audio.
Yeah,
it's still doing it, so don't bother. It's Monday night.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Scott has basically two characters, douchebag and kind of bewildered nerd. And I think he's a much better douchebag than a bewildered nerd, which is what he plays in this film.
I think you hit it, the key in the beginning, that there are moments I think that this film is very funny and it works, but consistently it's not. I still enjoyed it. And I think it's worth checking out on Netflix, but it's a step down from Tucker and Dale. I agree with you clearly, and just some of the humor some of the jokes don't all land. I feel like too it doesn't have the impact that Tucker and Dale did. Right? I don't know if if this is more of a family friendly film that he decided to make this time out, but it's not as like in your face crazy as Tucker and Dale vs. Evil was at times. So I don't know if he's just trying to appeal to a wider audience, and that's why. There's a few things I enjoyed. There's a couple small gags too that I feel aren't enough. Like when they meet up with the guy who's going to help them, and he's loading up this woman's van. There's a point where he hands her a bazooka, and nobody says anything about it. Nobody talks about it, right? He just throws it in the back of the truck. There's little things like that, I think, that I wish the film maybe could have done a little more with. Just small throwaway gags. I've always enjoyed those. And also, too, I don't know, did you ever do this? Because there's a Bethlehem, PA shout out, and I was in Bethlehem for about 2+ years. And every time there's a location that I used to live in, I always go, yay, Bethlehem. Like every time and Law and Order would mention Connecticut, I would always go, Connecticut. Yeah, whatever. No, I guess I'm the only one that does that. That's fine.
Yeah, you're the only one who does that, yes.
All right. So I enjoyed some other stuff. I enjoyed the appearance of the monster truck. For me, I felt that was the silliest moment of the film that I enjoyed the most. And I did struggle with one character in particular. Matt, any idea who?
God, what's his name? The big boisterous dude. I forget his name.
Al.
Dude in air quotes. Al. Yes. Was it Al?
Yeah, that was his name. They do this weird androgynous thing where the whole Pat thing, where he's not sure initially if he's a guy or a girl, and they lock it up and confirm that, and it is a woman playing a man, which is fine, but it's just I struggle with that. Like, if you were to watch those SNL skits with Pat now, how horribly it just wouldn't work today, right? And I think it's the same thing with here. I enjoyed the character. I don't know why it had to be done that. I don't know. It's just weird to me. I don't know. Am I being too sensitive, Matt? I'm being too sensitive, aren't I?
Well, you're probably being a little too sensitive, but at the same time, I completely agree with you. It wasn't a joke that really worked. I mean, it was like, that's not that. It got old real fast.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever. But we got to see Clancy Brown, who I'm always happy to see. Clancy Brown, the Kurgan. And whenever he shows up, I'm very happy to see that. So, but overall, I thought it was fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's not as good as Tucker and Dale. It has some great moments, some things I really enjoyed, but those are, for me, a little few and far between. I mostly kind of just chuckled, and I think I only laughed out loud 2 or 3 times at the most. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If I had to come down, I think I'm giving Little Evil a C+.
That is exactly what I was thinking. C+. Man, we are just... This show is so boring because we're always on the same page.
It is. It totally is. Fine. All right, this will be the last show then. We'll move on. Matt, we'll start reviewing books. We've got to find something we don't agree on so much.
Okay.
Have to find maybe art. That's much more subjective. Actually, like paintings.
Are you saying films aren't art, Chris? Are films not art?
Yeah, that's true. No, I just said pictures that are more subjective, I think, than film is. Architecture? How do you feel about architecture? Style? No, we're pretty good.
No. But we could definitely argue about music because we only intersect in a couple of places for.
I guess so. So here's an email. Tell us your thoughts on Little Evil. Feedback@thefirstrun.com. So Matt, I guess that's it. We don't have a final
Yeah.
segment because initially I was terrified that I wasn't going to have a home. So we're going to close up shop for the day. Next week it's going to be It. I don't know if we're doing anything else yet, but we will be discussing It. There may be a further delay because Matt has some moving plans he has to handle. And then I will be visiting Connecticut. So I'm not sure when we're going to be able to get together again. Maybe it could be like a week plus, basically.
Right.
But we'll be discussing It. Matt blowing out the box office doors this weekend for our September release.
Really? I'm looking forward to talking about this. So maybe we double up. Maybe we do It and Mother at the same time for about a week. Make it an all horror show for October.
There you go. That might not be a bad idea at all. It and Mother. So we'll figure that out. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Check us out on YouTube. You can watch the recording of the show in all its rough glory. We're also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And of course, there is the site itself, thefirstrun.com. So Matt, let's take an extended break and we'll see you all soon. Take care.
Ah!